Hello everybody and welcome to day 6. It's almost end the week. What an amazing journey has been so far. So thank you for tuning in and for attending the day 6 of this yoga challenge. Please subscribe. We see a lot of people watching the videos. Help us out if you find benefit on what we do, subscribing to the channel. And if you're participating to the challenge because you're in for that nice prize, just make sure to comment at the bottom of the YouTube, the YouTube video, and also to tag us in your stories. Move with Eli, Yoga and Breath Evolution, so that we can share and we know indeed who is joining, so that when we are going to find out who is the winner is, everybody is included. So having said that, today is day 6 and we will have a little bit of nice challenges as usual, but we will focus a little bit more on balancing. So balancing in yoga seems like almost an absolute term because we have so many things that we need to balance in yoga. Say like, where do we start? But today we will move through different elements, and if your legs will be fatigued, yeah, that probably you did everything right. And remember also, balance that we find on the mat is a nice mirror for us on how we manage the balance outside of our daily life. In our daily life, if we are somebody that gets frustrated, 99% of the time we will get frustrated also off the mat. So use this practice as a way to discipline yourself to be more kind to yourself mostly. Having said that, start with a cross-legged position. Take a moment here just to tune in. Allow the hands to rest on top of your knees and take a couple of restoring breaths, just with the purpose of bring you close to your center of balance indeed. Start to breathe in and out from the nostrils. And when you're ready, exhale from the mouth. Breathing in. Exhaling out, maybe from the nose if you prefer. And last one, we breathe in, we stretch all the way up to the crown of the head, and we release everything down as we exhale. When you're ready, bring the hands in front of the heart, expressing a little bit of kindness for when maybe you will fall off balance. And when you're ready, gently blink your eyes open, address your hands in front of you and roll on top of your knees and find your tabletop position. From here, hands under the shoulders, and we start just with some free movement. So knees hip width apart, hands shoulder width apart, and start gently to invite some movement into the spine. So according on how I feel, sometimes the movements are smaller or bigger. So invite for you bigger or smaller movement according if it's maybe it's early in the morning and you feel like, yeah, I still need to decompress from the night. And use like this time that you're moving through the spine, maybe also to warm up the wrist, so the hands can move, the finger can move back, so the wrist can point forward as you move, changing the direction, maybe moving out, maybe one out, one in. So that almost like you use every holistic movement like a way to include the full body. We take other 2 breaths here, just to invite it in motion. And when you're ready, bring both fingers, both hands and the fingers towards the front. And from here, we start to send the left leg back. So send the left leg back, right arms reach forward. And we found already maybe a little bit of balancing challenge. So keep pressing through your left hand, finding a protraction into the shoulder. When you're ready, bend the left knee, catch the back of your left ankle with the right hand, and lift. So kick the shin into the hands and open the chest forward. And engage the glute. So you will notice that if you engage the hamstrings and the glute, you can lift a little bit higher. When you're ready, exhale, release, both hands on ground. Left foot behind the right one. Spin the right knee onto the side and send the left arm up, finding your side plank. Now, there is an option here to make it a little bit more spicy for yourself. If you are in the spicy club, you can always lift the right knee, maybe cross the ankle on top of your left one and finding like a number 4. And you are into your side plank. When you're ready, exhale, release, both knees onto the ground, both hands down. And we simply change sides. So it will be the left arm reach forward, right leg reach back, and we experience already here a little bit of balancing. Now remember, if you cannot catch your back ankle, it's all right, you can stay here. When you already bend the right knee, catch indeed the ankle. So and from here we want to open the chest, so squeeze the shoulder blades, engage the glutes and the hamstrings, and almost like shine our heart towards the front of the mat. Keep breathing, smiling if you can. And when you're ready, exhale, release. Send your left arm forward. So you come as gently as you came in, you come back and you place your right foot outside of the left one. So you spin, you open, you send your right arm up. And then again, if you like spices, lift the left knee, find the number 4. Use this chance to open the hip as well. So like from here, yeah, from here. Keep pressing to the left shoulder. If the arm is shaking, probably you're doing it right. When you exhale, release, both knees on ground, both hands onto the floor. And we reverse the movement very gently. When you're ready, tuck the toes under, lift the hips high and find your downward facing dog. So believe it or not, also this one is a little bit of a balanced position, right? We are weight bearing and balancing here. Balancing weight between the back and the front part of the body and bringing awareness of how we move. When you're ready, start to tiptoe the feet towards the front of the mat. Bring yourself towards the front. And we find a moment here to bring the toes together, here slightly apart, and we invite our chair pose. So brush the mat with the fingertips, squeeze the legs together, arms are reaching forward. Tuck your tailbone under, belly it's in. Breathe in. And when you're ready, swing the arms back, come on toes, and find a little bit of balance, or a drinking bird. Imagine you're a nice colibri, tipping some water into a fountain. Inhaling, bring the arms up, find your regular chair. The one that you know, that feels comfortable. When you're ready, exhale, find that drinking bird. Stay on toes. Now we'll ask you to stay on toes, so don't hate me for that. Send the arms towards the sky, interlace the fingers, palms away from you, and then slightly and slowly you start to stretch your legs. And you come like in a toe balance. Open the chest, arms are reaching towards the sky. Smile, and if you're falling, guess what? You're trying. And if you're wearing leggings like I'm doing, imagine that the part that of your leggings is touching, you know, the part that is sewing together, the front and the back, and you want to bring them into touch. When you're ready, exhale, heels towards the ground. Take a moment here, relax the hand side of the hips, and just close your eyes. So, what just happened? I don't know, you tell me. When you're ready from here, again, we find our chair position. Bending the knees. Breathing in, tuck the tailbone under, lifting the belly, opening the chest. Exhale, arms back, we find our drinking bird. Now it should feel super, super fine. From here, we stay. And on the next exhalation, keeping the toes onto the ground and the heels lifting, we want to fold. So if you can't fold without dropping the heels down, drop the heels down, it's all right. And exhale, if you're falling with your toes and the heels elevated, then on exhalation, bring the heels down. That was. Hands under the shoulder, inhale, lift the chest. We step the right foot, the left foot back. We modify a little bit our Vinyasa today. So when you're ready, exhale, bend the elbows, find your chaturanga. Inhale, push back into your plank. Bring the right knee into the chest and tap your right elbow. Tap your left one. Spin on the inside of the left foot and send the left arm up. Finding balance into your side plank. Exhale, both hands on ground. Bring the right foot back. Bend the elbow, find your chaturanga. I promise it will be just once. Push back, find your plank. Bring the left knee in, tap your left elbow. Right one, spin and open. Find your nice side plank. I promise it will be just once this way. But I'm not good at keeping promising. When you're ready, exhale, both hands down, step back from your plank. Chaturanga down. Inhale, cobra, so pelvis down. Squeeze the shoulder blades back, bend the elbows, knees off the ground. Exhale, downward facing dog. Whew. When you're ready, we send the right leg towards the sky. We find the three-legged dog, square the hip. Now a little bit of challenging for balancing. You can stay in this three-legged dog, otherwise keep pressing into your right hand and get your left hand towards the left ankle. So if you can't balance in this two-legged dog, it's all right. I couldn't at the beginning. So place the hand onto the floor and find your balance here. And we stay wherever we are for 3, 2, I know it's hard. And one. When you're ready, both hands down, we bring the knee into the chest and we step the right foot forward. Left knee on floor. Always these things that looks easy and they're always very hard, right? When you're ready, inhale, arms are reaching towards the sky and sink your hip flexor towards the floor. So psoas muscle, your hip, the left one moves towards the floor. And we open the chest a little bit more. When you're ready, exhale, both hands on ground. And we step back and we find that weird plank position transition we did so far. So the one that includes 3 push-ups, I know. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, push back into your plank, right knee into the chest. And this time directly to the left, we spin open and we find the side plank. Keep pressing and protecting the right shoulder. Exhale, both hands down, send the right foot back, chaturanga. Plank again. Left knee in, spin and open into the inside of your right foot. Right arms reach up. Exhale, both hands down. The good one, the one that moves towards the ground, chaturanga, belly onto the floor. So we take cobras so that we rest down. Exhale, downward facing dog. Whew. When you're ready, inhale, send the left leg up and find your square hip. Now protract and press through the left hand and start to send your right hand towards the right ankle. I know. If you open the hip, what will happen? That you will twist in the direction. For 3, 2, and 1. Both hands down, left knee into the chest, step forward, bring the right knee down. Anjane, Anjane, arms are reaching up. Again, hip towards the floor. Oh, that's so good, right? When you exhale, both hands onto the ground, step your right foot forward and find your forward fold. Take a moment here, again. Breathing in and out. When you exhale, both hands on ground, bring the feet together. And we bend the knees and we find our chair pose. Now balancing for us should be like a very extended concept. We send the arms back and we come on toes. We find our drinking bird. Amazing. Arms are reaching forward, bring the heels onto the ground again. This time, right foot stays solid onto the floor, shift the weight there. Bring the left heel towards the left buttock. And then extend your left leg forward. Knees are in touch. Like you're pointing at an ant onto the floor. Like, look at there, it's a red ant. When you're ready, send it back up again. Start to inch forward and extend your left leg back. Keeping the front knee bent, like in a warrior 3, but with the front knee bent. A little bit harder onto the hips, squeeze the legs together. Hands can be on ground anytime. So Patrick, just show with the hands onto the floor. And when you're ready, exhale, step it back. High lunge. Holy cow, finally we are here. Both feet onto the ground. When you're ready from here, inhale. Exhale, spin and open, find your warrior 2. Taking a nice moment into your warrior 2. So find a nice opening into the front hip, but at the same time shifting the weight between both legs. So anchoring the back foot down, squeezing the legs together, almost if you want to ripple your mat. And find your way here. When you're ready, right elbow towards the right knee, left arms reach overhead, finding a side stretch. Breathing in and out into your side angle. Always option to place the hand onto the ground, but this is very up to you. If you have a bind, also an option for a bind. So sending the left arm behind the back, right arm under the right thigh. And you want to keep your hands away from your privates and rolling the shoulder back. I know it might seem like a weird cue, but in class when I teach, I see a lot of people that are hugging in weird parts of their body, so just make sure that you're hugging your thigh. When you're ready, inhale, release from the bind if you're there, and place your right hand in front of the right foot. Left arm can stay on top of your left hip, and you start to heel toe your left foot a little bit closer. In and in here, open the chest, exhale, fly the back leg up, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose, left arms reach towards the sky. Now, you might want to place a block under. I personally like to rest my hand on top of my shin and my left hand on top of my left hip because I'm a lazy person, believe it or not. And when you're ready, with control, start to step the left foot back. Find your warrior 2. Spin on top of the back toes. Find again your high lunge, so you square the hips again. When you're ready, bring the left knee into the chest. Balancing here, interlace and grab. Yeah, I know. Seems a lot happened. When you're ready from here, start gently to bend your standing leg and guide your left heel on top of it. And find your number 4. You can place the hands in front of the heart and focus here to keep the hips square, but at the same time you want your left hip to open. So it's a hip movement. It's not like just the knee. The knee opens because your hip allows it to. So keep the foot flex. Last breath in. And last breath out. Inhale, lift the chest up. Come to standing. So you can keep here in number 4. If you have a space for a half float, so bring the heel all the way up to the hip crest of your right leg, please do so. We will fold again. So stay there. Open the chest. Oops. Open the chest here. Exhale, fold. Gently bringing the pelvis down, hands on ground. And you can always clap a couple of blocks if you are into your number 4 to place under your hands. So for the one that didn't know, my right foot is not my strong forte for my balance. Broke it twice. One actually recently, not even a year ago. So also for you, sometimes you have an injury, be mindful and also be kind. Because, you know, this is a nice reminder that we can still move. Maybe it's not as much as we would like to or used to, but we can still move. When you're ready, bend your standing leg and come all the way up. Bring the left knee into the chest. And gently, when you're ready, we make a big step back. But before we point the toes forward, 180, all the way out, opening the hip, landing the left foot down. Both hands on ground, step back, find your plank. Who is happy to be in plank now? Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Say, after my right leg will thank you. Exhale, downward facing dog. Taking a moment here, a couple of breaths. And when you're ready, start gently to move towards the front of the mat. Either you take a big step, or you just, maybe you float forward. When you're ready, find your chair pose again. Exhale, drinking bird. Come on toes. Inhale, chair pose. And from here, we start to guide the knees together, right here towards the right buttock. So you stay into your chair. Now you point at that end in front of you. So point, 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 point. And then you send it back again. You keep the front knee bent and you start to extend the right leg. Inching the chest forward, always option to place the hands on ground. Finding this modification of your warrior 3. So the foot can be flexed or pointed, but your left knee is bended. So you bend more than you like. Then find more than you want. And then when you're ready, land the right foot back. Finding your high lunge. Say, poof. Finally. Exhale, spin and open. Find your warrior 2. Beautiful here. Finding the same engagement. I know that already your left leg might feel slightly fatigued. Therefore, more attention to the right one. Keep pressing onto the ground. Help your left leg. Breathe in. When you're ready, exhale, elbow towards the thigh. Right arms reach overhead. Now, if you went for a bind, like me before, or like Patrick is showing, so I will stay into my modified side plank, and he will go into his full bind. Make sure that your right shoulder is opening, and an temptation is high to move away from your front knee bend, so you want to kind of move back, stay there front. I know, I've been there. Like you, when you're the inhale, release the bind. Bring your left hand in front of the left foot, right hand towards the right hip. Heel to toe, the right foot closer. And walk the hands towards the front. When you're ready, exhale, fly the back leg up. Find your Ardha Chandrasana. Right hand can reach toward the sky. Left foot can stay onto the block. You can have it floating. Or if you are like me, a little bit lazy, you rest it on top of the hands, sorry, on top of the legs. Whew. Amazing. When you're ready with control, we start to bend and step back. And we find our warrior 2. Spinning on top of the back foot, we find that high lunge again. We take a little bit. We exhale and we bring the right knee into the chest, all the way forward, interlacing and holding. When you're ready from here, find your number 4. So external rotate the knee, heel on top of your thigh. So what we want to avoid is like weird position with the heel. Keep it nice and flexed. Sometimes what I see is like heel turning all direction. Think about the heel protection for your knee. So that's what you want to find for yourself. So find your number 4, keep the heel square and start to move yourself towards the floor. Like if you are sitting, I would say like you're listening to a very interesting story and you're like really sitting on the top of your chair because the story is pretty juicy. When you're ready, come back up. Now, same variation you did onto the other side. If you went for half lotus, here towards the hip crest, knee is pointing down. Also here, pay attention to the position of your heel, of your ankles, and start to inch forward. Blocks can be under your hands. And you want to rest the hands onto the floor, finding a little bit here of a deep fold. Relax the head. Now it's all the hips that are singing and talking and telling you stories, as you hear. It's all like a hip movie. When you really gently come up, you might need to micro bend the knee to facilitate that. Place the hands on top of the hip and guide your right knee into the chest again, interlace and hold. We point and we do a 180 like if you were ballerinas. So point your right leg. So suck the femur back in the hip socket. And we circle all the way back. I'm trying to don't hit Patrick in the process. And then we step down. All right, so we spin. Again, send the arms up. Exhale, both hands on ground. Plank position, chaturanga. In an up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. When you're ready from here, we tiptoe towards the front of the mat. And we take a moment to simply sink down. Shake the head. Feel like how you are doing after all this nice burn for your legs. When you're ready into your forefoot, make circle with the wrists. We warm up a little bit the wrist very spontaneously at the beginning of class, but if you did not take the chance, make just circles. Using the chance of being here just to warm up into the wrist. Will not be a balance class without a little arm balance. When you're ready, exhale, hands onto the ground, lift the chest. And start to heel toe the feet towards the outside. Entering into your Malasana squat. Elbows outside of the knee, inside of the knees, pushing the knees out. Now, if you're new to arm balancing practices, we have a class for that. So, and we will post more, so just seek a class on arm balances in our channel so that you can get a little bit more breakdown on how to. In this case, we will rush through it a little bit. So enter into our crow position. And if you're looking for explanation, seek for the class with that purpose specifically. When you're ready, hands onto the ground. Again, we start to lift the buttocks. We place the feet parallel to the wrist. And we start to bend the elbows back. Placing the knees on top of the elbows, so a little bit higher if you are into more like really a crane pose. And shift the weight forward. One ear moves towards the butt. Maybe the other one joins. And we are here in our crow. We stay here for roughly 3 to 4 breaths. And the idea is like to jump back. Now, if you don't have a jump back, you bring the feet onto the ground and you step back into your plank. So nothing bad about it. So keep staying. Grab those fingers to the mat. And when you're ready, exhale, jump back. Or float, like Patrick is doing. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bring the knees onto the ground. Take a child pose or sitting into your size up. Taking a moment here to integrate what just happened in the last roughly, I think, 15 minutes, more or less. Allowing yourself to feel. And also, again, what was the most interesting thing you found when you are requested to balance? What was the thing that was a little bit more challenging? Maybe like me, who had injuries, so you feel that sometimes your balance is a little bit shaky. Or maybe sometimes you get distracted by outside sounds, looking somewhere else, and your awareness, your mindfulness, what your mind is full of, is drifted away. When you're ready from here, inhale, Open the eyes, and on the exhalation, we start just to bring the hands onto the ground. Inhaling, lifting the hips up, finding our downward facing dog. We start to tiptoe towards the front of the mat. And then we find a little toe balance. So we start to squeeze the legs together. We send the hips towards the heels, and then we lift the heels from the ground. I will stay a little bit in our toe balance. If you've been in my class, you know I like a lot this, because for my injury was something that took a lot of time to be able to master. So it might be simply very easy for most of us, but for me it was very hard. So when you start to sink the heels down, buttocks towards the floor, and move into your Navasana. Yesterday, Patrick was saying that we didn't do a lot of core in our classes, so I thought, like, why not? Navasana, we balance on top of the sitting bones, so why not? Send the arms forward, bring the knees close to your chest, and lift the feet from to the ground, balancing indeed on top of the sitting bones, stretching the spine long. Crown of the head is reaching up, and your chest is open. When you're ready, you can stay here. You can extend the legs towards the sky, finding this V shape. In that case, you want to keep the gap between the chest and the knees quite short, or like Patrick is doing, you can keep the knees bent. As long as you're working, right? So breathing here for 5, 4, keep balancing, 3, 2, and 1. Exhale, feet onto the ground, gently grab the back of your thighs and move towards the floor. Take a moment here to knock the knees in, feet as wide as the mat. Hands onto the belly, and start to drop the knees, right and left, windshield wipers. When you're ready, sending the legs towards the chest, we bring the elbows side of the rib cage, moving in our shoulder stand, which is a shoulder balance indeed. So if you notice that for you it's hard to access this pose, you can simply send the legs towards the sky, finding a waterfall, trying to keeping the activation of the back chain of your legs pretty vivid. Otherwise, you join us in your shoulder stand. So bring the elbows out of the ribcage, you swing the legs up, and you place the hands onto the lower back. Using to bring the knees towards the forehead to better adjust the hands towards the lower back, or even walking them a little bit closer to the scapulas as the elbows squeeze in. And then sending the legs towards the sky again. Squeezing everything together, chin towards the chest. So if you are there, don't look at the video, you're there. So chin towards the chest to protect your neck. And keep a gentle squeeze between the legs. So it doesn't have to be a clinch, it has to be a squeeze. And then experiment by sending one leg at a time towards the back. So flex the feet and start to send the right leg towards the back. Only the right, keeping the left one reaching for the sky. See if you touch the ground. Inhale, bring it back up and just change. You can point the one that stays up if it makes you feel better for reaching for the stars. And then you bring both legs towards the sky. And now this is a little bit the proof of truth. Try to flex both feet and sending them all the way back, finding a Halasana or plow pose. Now, hands can reach towards the front. I personally like it a lot towards my feet because I feel that they are stretching myself. I feel like a little bit cocooning. Now, what we have the tendency to do is to lift the hips very high. Try instead about to lift the hips high, the tailbone, and then send it slightly towards the front of your mat so that the stretch into the hamstrings becomes more clear. I will stay here for 5 breaths. Close your eyes again. You can always keep the hands on the lower back if the feet don't touch the ground. So again, you help yourself a bit. If you don't touch the ground now, doesn't mean you will never touch the ground. So why you don't help yourself to bring that proprioception of sending the feet a little bit more far, and your hands can give you a big help in that. If you remove your hands, most of the time you will just rock towards the front again. When you're ready with control, we start to bend the knees maybe towards the ears. And if you want, bring the hands towards the lower back if they were towards your feet. Relaxing here. Just a couple of breaths. Again, cocooning. When you're ready with control, start to send upper back and almost like sliding the hand side of your hips, middle back, keeping the thighs close to your chest, lower back onto the ground, and release the feet onto the floor. Bringing the sole of the feet together, knees slightly apart or wide apart, finding your reclined butterfly, Supta Baddha Konasana. Relax the shoulder under if you feel that you notice you have some tension. So I always think about shoulder like shelves that are supporting my heart space. So according to what I'm requesting them to do, they can be slide under and soft, or can be a little bit more energetic in back bends, for example. When you're ready, bring the hands outside of the knees and guide the knees together. Start to send your right knee towards the chest and start to grab the outside of your right foot with the right hand. Bending the knee and pinning the knee towards the floor. Sending the left leg towards the sky. Flex the foot. You want really as much as you can to pin the knee towards the floor because you are adjusting one-legged happy baby and should be easier. When you're ready, exhale, send the left foot down, hovering on top of the mat. Inhale, bring it back up. We do just for 4 times, so synchronize with the breath. Exhale. Inhale and bring it back up. Last 2. Maybe you can keep even your eyes closed. You know the drill, so the eyes are not needed any longer. And you send the left foot down. Bring it back up. Now, start to bend both knees and change sides. Pin the left knee onto the ground, send the right leg up. And then we keep the right foot moving down for 4. And lifting as well for 4. Down for 3. And up for 2. And up, keeping the left knee down. And for 1. And up. When you're ready now, lift the left knee from the ground, bend the right one, and find your happy baby. And keep your happy baby. Maybe it's a still happy baby. We want you to rock from side to side. Some awareness into the hip. I like to stretch one leg at a time and rocking between the 2. My happy baby is a little bit naughty. He's a happy, naughty baby because he doesn't like to stay still, like most of babies, unless they're sleeping. And also there, maybe for a very short amount of time. When you exhale, release, guide the knees into the chest and slide your feet towards the opposite corner of the mat. Open your arms wide, palms are facing towards the sky. And you want to take this time really for yourself, like an invitation for rest. Allow yourself to feel, experience, and drop into your Shavasana. Bringing again balance, so restoration after movement, to your practice. There will be no yin without the yang, and there will be not night without day. So even when you move, treat your recovery with the same amount of respect that you do for your movement session. Is as important as that one. I want to thank you for being with us during this day number 6. Please make sure to subscribe, support, offer us a coffee, or like simply share your progress with us so that you can be fully participating into the challenge. We want to thank you for participating to day 6. It's a great achievement. You made it through all the week, almost. So thank you again for being with us. See you.